Hey everyone, ready for some juicy online drama?
Oh, always.
Well, today's deep dive is all about the Brianna Chickenfry and Zach Bryan breakup.
Ooh, that's messy.
Yeah, it's Barstool Sports meets country music.
Sounds intense.
And we've got this Perez Hilton article that's basically summarizing all of Brianna's TikToks and podcast comments about the whole thing. So get ready because, we're diving deep into all the emotions and seeing if there's actually anything we can learn.
I love that, trying to find those nuggets of wisdom.
Right. Is this just another celebrity gossip storm, or is there something deeper here?
I mean, what strikes me right off the bat is how open Brianna's being about getting help. Like in one TikTok, she mentions intensive therapy, and that's not just, casually seeing a therapist once a week.
Yeah, no, intensive therapy definitely makes it sound way more serious. What does that even look like?
Well, it can mean going a lot more often, sometimes even multiple times a week. And the focus is, well, it's not just about coping. It's about, digging deep into the underlying issues, maybe even past traumas or patterns.
So she's really trying to, understand the root of all this, not just put a Band-Aid on it.
Exactly, yeah.
Hmm.
And choosing to do all of this so publicly is pretty remarkable, especially for someone like her. She's basically letting the world watch her heal.
That takes guts.
For sure.
But here's where things get interesting. While she's working through all of that, she's also, spotted getting cozy with some guy in Australia and even defended her right to smooch a little on TikTok.
The rebound.
Right. So is it genuine? Like a way to take back her power and move on? Or is there this element of performance for social media, like feeling pressure to show everyone she's fine?
I think that's the dilemma for a lot of public figures post-breakup, right? This pressure to control the narrative, appear strong, like it hasn't fazed them, it must be immense.
Oh.
Especially when you're already dealing with heartbreak. Makes you wonder if true healing is even possible with all eyes on you.
Good point. Okay, and let's not forget about the cheating allegations. Brianna straight up said in a comment that Zach was cheating on her throughout their whole relationship.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a serious accusation, and it adds a whole other layer of complexity to this. Betrayal like that can be incredibly damaging. You start questioning your worth, feeling insecure.
Like the rug's been pulled out from under you.
Exactly. And for someone like Brianna, who's so open and shares so much online, that betrayal probably feels even worse. It's like the whole world was watching.
Speaking of public exposure, she also claimed that Zach showed her an engagement ring while also DMing other girls. What's going on there psychologically?
Ooh, that's hard to say without knowing more about them. I mean, it could be insecurity, fear of commitment, maybe a need for validation. Who knows?
Yeah, it definitely paints a complicated picture of their relationship, that's for sure. A lot more than we initially thought.
Definitely. And it makes you think about the power dynamics, especially when you've got two public figures involved.
Okay, and just when you think it can't get any crazier, Brianna posts, then deletes, a TikTok threatening to release video evidence of Zach, abusing her.
Seriously.
Yeah, unless he gives back her cat. And she mentions a $12 million NDA she refused to sign.
Wow, that's next level. I mean, a $12 million NDA, that's not something you just throw around. Clearly, he's trying to hide something big.
It's intense, right?
It really makes you think about what goes on behind those carefully curated online personas. Like, these are real people dealing with some heavy stuff.
So easy to forget that.
It is. It really makes you think, how differently we'd all approach these things if we remembered there's another human on the other side of the screen,
Totally. Especially with the whole moving on thing. There's no right way to do it after a breakup, let alone when it's all over the internet.
Exactly. Everyone heals differently. What might look like moving on for one person could be a completely different coping mechanism for someone else.
So how can we, as people watching all this unfold, be more sensitive?
Well, I think, first of all, we need to remember that what we're seeing is just a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle. Social media is curated, We can't just jump to conclusions or judge based on that.
Yeah, so easy to get caught up in the gossip and pick sides.
Right, right. And even though they're public figures, they're still human.
Yeah.
Words have power, and we need to remember that when we're talking about these things online.
Think before you type, basically.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned that whole stolen cat thing earlier, and it might seem like a weird detail to focus on, but I think it actually points to something bigger.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Well, pets are often, so tied to our emotions. And during a breakup, they can become symbolic of the love and connection that's lost.
So, the cat represents more than just a pet in this case.
Yeah. It could represent their shared history, memories, the sense of family they built. And when that's taken away, it can feel like another loss on top of the breakup itself.
Oof. like losing a part of yourself.
And when you add the public aspect, imagine the stress of not knowing where your pet is while also dealing with this very public heartbreak.
Must be incredibly overwhelming.
It is. We often get so caught up in the drama, the headlines and the back and forth, that we forget about the real human impact.
So what can someone like Brianna even do to handle this kind of public heartbreak in a healthy way?
Well, like we talked about before, therapy is a huge one,
Hmm.
but also having a good support system, friends, family, people she can lean on.
Having people you trust can make all the difference.
Oh, absolutely. And then self-care,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like for her. Exercise, nature, creative stuff, taking time to just chill.
It's about putting herself first, even amidst all the chaos.
Exactly. And, healing isn't linear. There will be ups and downs.
It's okay to not be okay.
Exactly. And in a world where everyone's trying to project perfection online, it's refreshing to see someone like Brianna be real about it. Show that it's okay to ask for help.
It's a good message, especially for her younger fans. But you know what's interesting? How Brianna's using social media to like shape the story around this whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I think it shows how public figures are handling these kinds of personal things now. Especially with social media. It's not just about publicists and statements anymore.
It's like taking control back.
Right?
Right, connecting with their audience directly.
Exactly. And for someone like Brianna, who's built her whole career on being open online, it makes sense that she'd use it for this too, to kind of navigate this tough time.
Makes sense. But then it also makes you wonder, like, where's the line between public and private with this stuff?
That's the question, isn't it? Social media has made it so blurry. On the one hand, it's great for transparency, but on the other, there's the whole exploitation thing, privacy. It's tricky.
Yeah, super tricky.
I think it's something we all need to think about more. Like how much do we share? How do we engage with these stories in a way that's respectful?
Yeah, it's a conversation that needs to happen, for sure.
Absolutely. But, going back to Brianna, I think her choosing to do intensive therapy could actually be a good thing for the whole conversation around mental health.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. She's got this huge platform, and she's seen as, like, super confident, and she's saying she needs help. That's huge, especially for young people who might be struggling silently.
Like she's giving them permission to take care of their mental health.
Exactly. And it challenges that whole stigma, the one around therapy, especially for people in the public eye. By talking about it, she's normalizing it, encouraging others to get help too.
It's like a reminder that mental health stuff can happen to anyone, famous or not.
Exactly. And that asking for help is actually a sign of strength.
Love that. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Brianna and Zach, what are the big takeaways?
I think first, it's a good reminder that public breakups are way more complicated than they seem. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And second, we need to be more empathetic. Remember, there are real people hurting here. And lastly, Brianna's story really highlights the importance of taking care of our mental health and getting help when we need it, no matter what.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This deep dive has been a roller coaster. It's crazy how a celebrity breakup can spark so many bigger conversations.
It is, right. But relationships, mental health, social media,
It's all connected.
it is.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up here. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.